So today we'll be taking a look at some of those comments from Drew McIntyre on why he doesn't want to face The Fiend and his reasoning for that decision. We'll also take a look at what Becky Lynch is up to and what former superstar Roman Reigns just complimented. Let's start things off with these comments from Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre has been on a historic WWE run over the last year and continues to elevate his game in WWE. Drew McIntyre will be putting his title on the line soon against Goldberg at the Royal Rumble. Going up against Goldberg towards the start of WrestleMania season is usually bad news for the young superstar that's facing Goldberg. WWE loves to have Goldberg walk into WrestleMania every year as champion. So there's some concern about Drew McIntyre losing the WWE title here. But there are other reports that make it seem like Drew McIntyre will be retaining. So we'll have to see. If Drew McIntyre does retain at Royal Rumble, that means that he'll likely walk into WrestleMania as champion. So who would Drew McIntyre face at WrestleMania? It's still a bit early to tell, but high on the list of possibilities will obviously be The Fiend. Especially with The Fiend coming back stronger than ever with a new persona. He makes for quite the interesting matchup for Drew McIntyre. Now, ever since fans have been gone from WWE events, WWE has become very experimental with The Fiend's matches. A majority of The Fiend's matches over the last year have all been very gimmicky and cinematic, which works for him because The Fiend is a special character. He deserves to have these movie sort of matches. It just fits the character perfectly and makes him stand out from the rest. But Drew McIntyre's biggest turnoff about facing The Fiend and why he's not looking forward to it is because of the cinematic matches. Drew McIntyre feels like the WWE title should always be defended in a traditional match rather than a cinematic match. Drew McIntyre had this to say when speaking with Sportskeeda. Maybe eventually, not right now. I'm WWE Champion, and I think, in fact, I know, like the way I've been building the title, it's about the honor and respect about wrestling. There's room on the show for everything, a little bit of something for everybody, different characters. It'd be boring if everyone was the same. The Fiend's unique character is so incredible, so out there, but I don't think that's something I want to mix the WWE title with. Like, that's for, that portion of the audience. And for me as a fan to watch and be blown away by the spectacle. When it comes to the WWE Championship, I expect it to be in a wrestling match, like man on man, fighting over the title with respect and honor. That's what I'm all about. That's how I've tried to represent the title, and that's how I think it should be represented. Not in a comedic fashion or an outlanding fashion, but a realistic wrestling environment. So that was Drew McIntyre's take on why he wants to avoid doing anything with The Fiend right now. He feels like the WWE title feud and matches with The Fiend won't be focused on traditional wrestling. And that's true. A storyline with The Fiend isn't going to be based around the honor and the pride of wrestling. You're not going to get that from The Fiend's character, obviously. The Fiend is about revenge, supernatural elements, and other things like that. So Drew McIntyre feels like that shouldn't come into play with the WWE title on the line. He believes that the WWE title should never be defended in a match like the Boneyard match, a Firefly Funhouse match, Swamp Fight, and other things that we've seen over the last few months. He thinks it should be a traditional match in the ring with the WWE title on the line, and that's true. That's why we haven't really seen a cinematic match with the title on the line. It's definitely not a good way for a title to change hands. The thing that cinematic matches do the best is storytelling. You're not going to get a 5-star wrestling match in a cinematic match, but you will get a lot of storytelling elements in those sort of matches. Like we saw with Bray Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse match and the Swamp Fight. They weren't actually wrestling matches at all, but they definitely told a big part of the story. So, if Drew McIntyre ever meets The Fiend in the near future, he wants it to be a clean, traditional wrestling match, or else he's not interested. Of course, we still don't know much about this new Fiend that's supposed to be returning any day now. It's looking like it'll be a tweaked and new version of The Fiend. So, we'll have to wait and see what changes The Fiend's new character has, and if it makes sense for this version of The Fiend to take part in a traditional title match. But what are your thoughts on Drew McIntyre's comments about not wanting to defend the WWE title in cinematic matches? Does he have a good point? Becky Lynch's fans are patiently waiting for Becky Lynch's WWE return, and there hasn't been much word of Becky Lynch in any new reports. So unless they're keeping things extremely quiet, it doesn't appear like we're getting that close to her WWE return. But hopefully they are keeping things quiet, because WWE returns are always better that way. Just look at everything that happened with Charlotte's WWE return a few months ago. Word about Charlotte's return got out weeks in advance, and everyone knew she was going to be Asuka's mystery partner. That massive leak of Charlotte's return did take away from the shock value of Charlotte being the mystery partner. So hopefully that isn't the case here with Becky Lynch's return. Hopefully it does stay well under wraps and we're all caught off guard when she returns. Becky Lynch made a rare appearance this week on Instagram by posing for a picture with her daughter, Rue. But that wasn't the only headline Becky Lynch was involved in this week. Zelina Vega recently did have a true or false session with her followers on Instagram, and one fan asked her this question: "Are you friends with Becky Lynch? True or false?" Zelina responded by saying, "True. She's one of the people that were really there for me after I left. I'll always appreciate her." So telling by that answer right there, it does look like Becky Lynch was one of the very few superstars to reach out to Zelina Vega after she was fired and checked in on her. That was obviously such a great move by Becky Lynch. Zelina wasn't getting any public support from other WWE superstars because it seemed like they were afraid to say anything, that they may get in trouble. But it's still nice to see Becky Lynch and possibly a few others all reach out to Zelina Vega during that difficult time. Roman Reigns recently spoke with Fox Sports and discussed some amazing chemistry he had with Miro, formerly known as Rusev, in WWE. Roman talked about all the great matches that they had together and how they had special chemistry inside the ring. Roman Reigns had this to say: "I will say though, Rusev was really good. We had good timing as far as in the ring. I always had good chemistry with him to where I could come off the ropes, take one step, launch, and dart across the ring, and he knew just the perfect height to lift up, open up for me. So, yeah, we did that thing all over the world. Those were good times." Roman Reigns and Rusev had a lot of great matches over the years, and it looks like Roman is still supporting him in his new journey in AEW. We'll have to wait and see if these two will ever link back up in the ring again. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Do you agree with Drew McIntyre on not wanting to defend the title against The Fiend in a cinematic match? Are you excited for Becky Lynch's WWE return? And what did you think of Roman Reigns' comments on Miro? Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.